Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about quite a few new products, and nothing here is a brand new first impression. I've worn everything here at least 3 times. Most of these items I have worn more than that already. So what we have today, we have the new Tom Ford. This is the Creme blush in number 1 Cafe Blush. This is from the new Cafe Rose collection. We have 2 of the new YSL lip balms. We have the Byredo lip vinyl in Frozen Memo, as well as the new brow pencil. And we have all 6 shades of the new Phytosurgence cream eyeshadows. And this is a new formula. So let's go ahead and get started. And, let's start off with the blush. So this is the packaging for the Tom Ford blush. And the Cafe Rose items are all in similar packaging. This is plastic, it's lightweight. We have a square shaped mirror here. And then we have this cream blush. And I have to say, it's warmer than I expected, but I love the way it looks on the skin. So you can see that you have kind of this like nude terracotta rose. And this is what it looks like. So I was expecting something to have a little bit more pink in it, but I actually really love how natural it looks on the skin. So let's take a look at the demo here while we talk about the details. The Tom Ford Creme Blush in number 1 Cafe Blush has 6 grams of product and it's made in Italy. There's no suggested shelf life for this product. And I have to say, it retails for $95 US, so it's definitely a very pricey product for what you're getting. However, I have to say, I do really like it. So, it kind of depends how often you would wear this as to whether or not this product would be worth it. If you were to use it every day and you truly went through this product, sure, $95 I think is reasonable versus spending a lot on other items that maybe you don't really use. So I think it's really something to evaluate personally for that. According to Tom Ford, it's a lightweight creme formula that provides soft focus and luminous color to cheeks. It glides onto cheeks with the velvety comfort of a cream. The lightweight buildable blush is formulated with rich emollients that impart a soft focus and natural glow. They recommend using a dense brush or fingertips. And you can see in the demo, I used both of those. So I used fingertips on the right, and then I used a dense brush. This is actually the Refer 17, which was their original foundation brush. I like that for cream blush products. I think it's perfect for this blush. Texturally, this has a thin, silky cream feeling to it. So it's very thin and lightweight, and it blends out very beautifully. It's very easy to blend out. And then after it sits on your skin, it will kind of like sink in and set. So it doesn't budge throughout the day, and it doesn't fade throughout the day either. So since I got this, I have been using this one quite a bit. It's just such a great everyday, easy go-to blush shade. And you can definitely see on the cheeks, there is a little bit of a soft luminosity without any sort of shimmer or glitter or anything like that. And there's a soft focus blurring effect. So very subtle. You're not going to get that much blur from it. But I do notice that it just looks a little bit more blurred and like it has a soft glow to it. So I have to say, I really like this. Let's take a look at just a few other cream blushes. All right, so I wanted to start off with a couple of the Chanel. These are the number 1 blushes. So we're going to take a look at 2 of the shades. Number 2, Healthy Pink, and number 3, Vital Beige. So these are going to be a little bit dewier, creamier kind of blush. And these are, they're a little stickier. You buff them out and they like kind of sink in, but they definitely have a little bit more of a tacky presence in general than the Tom Ford. So this one here is number 2, Healthy Pink. And you can see it's going to be deeper. It definitely has more pink in it than the Tom Ford. And then we have number 3, Vital Beige. Let's put that right next to it. This is going to be a bit deeper. And let's just kind of rub this one in here. All right, so that's 3, Vital Beige. You can see neither of those shades quite match the Tom Ford. But the Tom Ford, again, that's it's a little different. I don't know if I have a blush that's exactly the same, but we will take a look. So I also want to take a look at the Cle de Peau. But first, I'm going to take the Tom Ford blush and just make a vertical line here, just so we can kind of have space for more swatches. So we're going to take a look at the Cle de Peau. The Cle de Peau cream blush formula. This is my favorite cream blush formula. This first shade here is number 4, Perfect Peach. You can see this is going to be a little bit lighter. It's got a bit more nude in there. And it's more of like a soft nude pink. There's a little bit of peach in there as well. But even though it's called Perfect Peach, it's not really the perfect, you know, it's not a true peach in my opinion. So I think it's just a great nude shade. The other one that I have that looked like it could be close was 201 Warm's Magic. And this was a limited edition shade from the holidays a couple of years ago. But you can see that is going to be peachier and brighter. Formula-wise, the Cle de Peau cream blushes, they are a little bit of a drier formula than the Tom Ford. The Tom Ford has a bit more of a silky, more silicone-like texture to it in comparison to the Cle de Peau. Another one I want to look at is Basma, the mauve shade. And this one here, yeah, this made me think of it, but you can see it's going to be lighter. There's more pink in it. It's going to be cooler in tone than the Tom Ford. But I do think that shade is closer than the Cle de Peau shades or the Chanel so far. Now, this has a very thin cream-like texture as well. It's kind of, you know, it's thin, it's silky, it kind of blends out, but there's slight more tackiness to the actual texture when you touch it compared to the Tom Ford. The Tom Ford feels a little bit, it just feels like there's more silicone in it. And then we have a couple shades from Westman Atelier. This is the shade Mimi, which is one of my go-to blush shades. Let me add a little bit more of the Tom Ford. All right, so there's more Tom Ford. That's Westman Atelier Mimi. You can see Mimi is going to be more nude. We have more brown in the Mimi shade. And it's more, yeah, basically just more brown. There's not really even that much more pink. And then the other shade here from Westman Atelier, this is Chouchette, which is a bit more peachy than the Mimi shade. And you can see that is actually pretty close to the Tom Ford. So this is probably the closest shade I have to it then. And I would say next up is the Basma in Mauve, but it is a little bit cooler. Yeah, so Chouchette, that's kind of the closest. Formula-wise, this is going to be a little bit of a drier cream formula compared to the Tom Ford, which again has just a little bit more of that silky texture to it. So let's go ahead and take a look at some additional products now. Let's take a look at the Phytosurgence cream eyeshadows. So these are a fantastic cream eyeshadow product. You can see they have a glass container with a plastic lid. And these are great because they really last throughout the day without creasing, even without a primer. So this one here is Hypnotic Honey. And you can see we've got quite a bit of sparkle in here. And it's kind of like a burnt honey shade. So you have like this kind of like this deeper brown with a touch of red and golden honey in there. And then you have some golden shimmer as well. So that's Hypnotic Honey. And then next we have Ancient Acres. And this one here is another really pretty brown shade, but it's not going to have as much shimmer as the Hypnotic Honey. So you can see we don't really have that glitter. These all have a bit of sparkle, a bit of shimmer to them. But you can see that we're not really noticing any glitter chunks in this. It's going to be more finely milled. And this shade has a bit more red to it than Hypnotic Honey. Next, we have Spirited Seedling. And this is the green shade. So here's Spirited Seedling. And you can see it's a really pretty olive mixed with forest green, and you can see there's a little bit of gold in there when you buff that out. So there is some gold shimmer that's very finely milled. Again, you're not seeing glitter pieces in this. This one is going to be similar to Ancient Acres in the amount of shimmer. Next, we have Precious Pollen. I've been wearing this one a ton. This is what's on my eyes right now. And here is Precious Pollen. I mean, you can see that this shade here, it's just a really beautiful, it's shimmery, but it's kind of like a soft taupe here. We've got a little bit of kind of champagne, there's brown and pewter, kind of all mixed together in this. And again, this one's gonna have some shimmer, but it's gonna be more similar to Ancient Acres and Spirited Seedling in the amount of shimmer that we have there. Then we go on to Mellow Mycelium. Okay, and this is another really pretty shade. And you can see how it compares to Precious Pollen. This has, you know, you can see a bit more gray in here. You can even see kind of like a little bit of olive green. And again, this one's not going to be as glittery. So far, you know, it's the Hypnotic Honey that's really the more glittery shade out of these so far. And then last up is Botanical Breeze. And again, a really beautiful shade. You can see a hint of like a greenish blue in here with some gold, but it's on more of a pewter base. So these are the 6 shades. Okay, the only one with true glitter that you can see is the Hypnotic Honey. The others all have shimmer. They're all gonna have sparkle. Just it's gonna be more finely milled. So from the top we have Hypnotic Honey right here, Ancient Acres, Spirited Seedling, Precious Pollen, Mellow Mycelium, and this is Botanical Breeze. So let's take a look at the eye swatches. These Phytosurgence cream eyeshadows are called Flash Fluorescence, and this is the Mystic Meadows collection. It retails for 21 Canadian dollars. They're a Canadian brand, but they also sell to the United States. We have a 1-year shelf life on here, and they are handmade in Vancouver, BC in Canada. Now, according to Phytosurgence, this new eyeshadow collection is all about earth tones that range from warm honey bronzes to muted mushroom browns. There are 6 shadows that come in 2 different finishes. 3 shades in our sparkly, softly glimmering finish seen in our Celestial Ceremony collection. 3 shades in a brand new high shine pearlescent finish. So the sparkly finish would be the Hypnotic Honey, where you can really see a lot of glitter. And then we also have the Botanical Breeze and Precious Pollen, which were the 4th and 6th ones swatched. Now, those to me don't have as much glitter as the Hypnotic Honey. Now keep in mind, these are handmade, so those may vary. So just note that you might end up with a little bit more shimmer in those than what I have. And then the other 3, which would be the Ancient Acres, the Spirited Seedling, and the Mellow Mycelium, are your pearlescent shine finish. So those have more of that finely milled shimmer to them. And yeah, you don't really see any actual like glitter pieces in it. So I have to say, I think the finishes are gorgeous. You know, for me, out of the 6 that I have, the only one that really is very sparkly would be the Hypnotic Honey, whereas the others are all going to be a bit more similar in mine. If you've tried the Phytosurgence cream eyeshadows before, they're kind of a firm cream eyeshadow. You know, it's got kind of a silky putty-like texture that you can put on. Then they last all day. Even on people with very oily lids, they last without creasing. They have since redone their formula just with this batch here. You know, with this collection, they've now reformulated all of the shadows on their site. And what they've done is they've made them a little bit creamier, a little bit less firm in the pan, so they're easier to pick up. Because over time, some of those Phytosurgence cream shadows, you know, they do get a little bit drier. Things do dry out over time. I haven't had any issues with mine personally. Yes, they have gotten drier, but the performance has still been great. But it can be a little bit harder to pick up the product once they start drying out a little bit. So this is going to be a little bit easier to pick up the product. They still last all day without creasing with me, even without a primer. And I have to say, I think they're beautiful. So all of the changes that I've noticed in the formula are positive. So I have to say, I still really like them. I'd love to know if anybody with incredibly oily lids has tried them and if they still hold up as well as the previous version. But for me, on my skin, which is going to be more balanced, I have not had an issue even when my eyes are producing a little bit of oil on those warmer days. So I have to say, I think they're great. I love these colors. They're great everyday neutrals. Some of them do look a little bit similar on the eye. So do you need to have all 6 of them? Probably not, but these are the types of neutral shades that I love for everyday go-tos. So for me, I absolutely love these shades. I think it's a great collection. So just for a quick comparison here, this is one of the originals. So this is actually past its shelf life. This is from a few years ago. So I actually have to rehydrate this one because it's dried out. But it's what, 2-3 years old. So the shelf life is 1 year. So I do need to rehydrate this, and I can do that with just adding a little bit of, something like, well, that's a glitter shot. All right, so this is Velvet Leaf, and I'm actually just adding a little bit of the Inglot Duraline to rehydrate this a little bit, because this one here is 3 years old whenever this originally came out. So it might even be longer than that. But I'm just trying to rehydrate this a little bit because it is past its expiration, and I just wanted to swatch the color. So this is not one I'll be using on my eyes anymore, but just wanted to share Velvet Leaf with Spirited Seedling because this is their first cream, which you can see is more of a duochrome finish. This has a kind of that olive green with the red shift to it. So that's the difference there between those. Formula wise, you can see how firm this is. However, this one's dried out, so it's not a great example. Let's look at one that's a little fresher. This is Oxidized Olive from the Weathered Woods collection. You can see this is going to be much firmer in the pan. And I just wanted to show you how that goes on. You can see how much drier the formula it was previously compared to now. So I just wanted to give you a quick idea of what that was like. And yeah, I have to say, I really like the new formula. I think it's definitely a positive improvement. So one more time, just going through all of the shades. We have Hypnotic Honey, Ancient Acres, Spirited Seedling, and this is Velvet Leaf from the first collection. Then we have Precious Pollen, Mellow Mycelium, and then Botanical Breeze down at the bottom. And then this one here again is Oxidized Olive. So these are 6 new shades for Phytosurgence. Let's move on to the next product. Let's take a look at the new Byredo brow pencil. So I had the original one, and I've gotten rid of it. I got rid of the refill for it too, because basically the stick inside of it, it dried up so quickly that it became like unusable. And it was okay to start with, so I was just gonna use it up just because I had it. But I didn't love it. It was always okay. This new one though, I think is much better. So when I first started using it, I didn't love it the very first brow, but by the second brow, I was already starting to like it. Basically, when I started using it, whatever coating they had on the actual pencil, you can see it's pretty fine here. Whatever coating, that wax that they had on there, it made it a little tough and like stiff to apply. After that kind of wore off, and let me just show you like one single line so you can see how thin that is. After that kind of wore off, it became a little creamier. It's still going to be more of a stiffer, drier pencil. This is the shade Sand. So we have this on one end, and I've been using this for, I guess, 2 weeks. So this is what's left of this, but it does come with one refill. And so refills should be available for purchase as well. So that's the one side. The other side, we have our spoolie. You can see our spoolie. It's soft, yet it is firm. So let's take a look at the demos for this. This pencil is actually part of the collection that came out with the Mineralscapes palette. But here in the US, they didn't all release at the same time. And so at first I wasn't gonna get this brow pencil, but I'm actually glad I did. I think it's pretty nice. It retails for $42 US. And according to Byredo, it says for precise and defined brows, Ultra Definer Brow Pencil's ultra thin tip allows to create hair-like strokes and delivers perfect definition with instinctive and effortless application. With its creamy, powdery, buildable, and blendable formula, wearers can create both natural and intense finishes as desired. Housed in a sleek metallic casing, the double-ended pencil also features a supple, flexible brush for impeccable color diffusion and easy shaping and styling. The transfer-proof, waterproof, and fade-proof formula is comfortable with all-day staying power, 96% natural origin ingredients, and 100% vegan. So as you can see in the demos, it's actually really easy to use and it is refillable, so I like that. It's made in Japan. And as I mentioned, it comes with one refill. So each one of the refills is 0.07 grams. So they're pretty thin, but again, it is going to be kind of that stiffer, creamy powder formula to it. So you're not actually wearing it down as quickly as you would, say, the Victoria Beckham pencil, which is going to be creamier in texture. So I have to say, I think this is a nice brow pencil. I do still personally prefer the Victoria Beckham, and I will, go back to that probably after I finish up the Byredo. But I think this is a nice option, and it's definitely one that I would pick up again. So, if I were to see it on sale, I would purchase this. So just to show you the swatch again, and you can see this is a clean finger, you can see that it really does stay put. It's not smudging, it's not coming off on my finger. It really does last all day and hold up well. So I think it's a really nice product. I do wish, however, that they would expand the shade selection a little bit, because I'm really more in between this sand shade and the next shade up, which is just a little bit too deep for me. So, I'd love to have some more shades there. Let's take a look at the next product that is also from Byredo. This is the liquid vinyl lipstick in Frozen Memo. So this is also part of Mineralscapes. And you can see here that it looks kind of like this greenish aqua. It's going to be translucent with just a little bit of shimmer. So it's really comfortable on the lips, but honestly, this feels just like a clear lip gloss with a little bit of shimmer. That's basically what it is. So let's take a look at the lip demo. So this retails for $50 US, and this is going to be part of the liquid lipstick vinyl collection, but it is a limited edition shade. It's made in Luxembourg, and it's 0.13 fluid ounces. We have a 2-year shelf life on this, and according to Byredo, this limited edition shade goes beyond the visible. So I guess that's a nice way of saying it's invisible. Part of the Mineralscapes collection by Lucia Pica, this unique mineral light green shade delivers intense and sophisticated shine with subtle glossy gold highlights. With its striking, high-impact finish, Frozen Memo perfectly contrasts and complements the elemental shades of the Mineralscapes eyeshadow palette. Can also be worn as an eye gloss, which I have not tried, for an extra dose of radiance. The creamy vegan blend of oils and shea butter delivers hours of comfort thanks to its non-bleeding formulation with instinctive ease and precise application through a sharp, lightly flocked wand. And I have to say, I think it is a nice product. I like the liquid lipstick vinyls. I don't like their matte version, but I do really like their vinyl version. It feels like a sumptuous lip gloss that really kind of stays put. And yeah, it has more of that glossy texture to it without being sticky and without feeling like it's moving around. So I personally like the formula, but this shade in particular is going to be clear essentially with some shimmer. There is some golden shimmer in here, but you really don't see much of this mineral green color. I do think it's a really nice gloss, but unless you're absolutely in love with this formula, there are many other products that are clear sparkle glosses, which could replace this. Now, personally, products like these, I tend to use these a lot. I love topping off a lipstick with it or adding it on later in the day when my lipstick's fading. So it's something that I do get a lot of use out of. And this shade actually reminds me a lot of one that came out from Suku a few years back, which I did use up. And again, it was like light green with some shimmer, and you couldn't really see the color, but I would use it to top things off, and I thought it was a really nice product. Again, don't expect to see much color though with this. So overall, it's a nice, clear glitter lip gloss. And then last up, we have 2 of the new YSL lip balms. So I picked up 2 of the shades. We have 1B, which is pink. I wish they would put the names on the actual product. It's pink, I think sunset, but I'll have to look that up because they're not on the actual lip balm. So here's this. Now we do have the same scent that you get with the new Love Shine lipsticks, which replace the Rouge Volupté Shine. So you have that same fruity fragrance. And this is going to be a very soft, light pink. And it does get slightly more vibrant, but nothing major. And then I also picked up 6B, which is brown nude. And this is what's on my lips right now. This is the one I've actually been wearing a lot. I think it's a really nice shade. You can see it is going to be a brown with a little bit of red in there. So it's pretty wearable for an everyday shade, in my opinion, for even just like a lighter lipstick kind of color. Let's take a look at the lip demos. So these are called the Candy Glow Tinted Butter Balms. I still have not tried the Candy Glaze lipsticks, but I do have a couple of those, so I'll be trying those soon. They retail for $40 US. And according to YSL, it's a smooth, buttery lip balm, providing soft shine and a sheer flush of color. Fused with shea butter and maracuja oil for smooth, hydrated lips. So there is a little bit of a pH adjusting factor for these lip balms. So I don't notice a huge difference in the change of color. They are going to get a little bit pinker than what they look like in the tube, but it's not huge. It's not going to turn like pink fuchsia. And honestly, with the deeper shade, the brown nude, it just makes it a little bit more pink, which actually makes it look a little bit more natural than a true brown would. So I think that's just something to note. I don't think the pH changing effect is as strong as it is with other pH changing lip products. Now, as for the product details for these, we have 3.1 grams of product. They retail for $40 US. We have a 2-year shelf life on these, and they are made in France. So there are currently 6 shades available. 1B Pink Sunrise is described as a clear sheer pink, while 6B Brown Nude is described as a sheer chocolate nude. And again, I think these are really nice. What I like about them is you still have oils to them, but they're not going to be as oily or glossy as the Love Shines. They do have a bit more wax to them. They are buttery. They really have like that true buttery texture to them. You still have that YSL fragrance that we're familiar with in their lip products. And they're very comfortable. So they last for a few hours on the lips before I feel the need to reapply. And they haven't seemed to dry out my lips or anything like that with consistent use. So they really do seem to be, hydrating and comfortable on the lips. They're really nice. I have to say I like these balms more than I like the Love Shine lipsticks themselves. And now this makes me really excited to try the Candy Glaze lipsticks. Let's just do a quick comparison with the recent Sisley lip balms. So we're just going to compare the 2 closer shades in the Sisley. This one here is number 2, Pink Glow, which is a pH adjusting shade. So we're going to give that a second to kind of change color a little bit. But you can see the pink base itself is slightly warmer pink than the YSL in 1B. And then we have number 3, Crush from Sisley, which is their Rosewood shade. And it did make me think of the 6B, but you can see that the Sisley definitely has more rose in there. It's more of a true rosewood, whereas the 6B is going to have more brown. And, the Rosewood from Sisley has more pink. This has more red and brown in there. And that brown is a warmer brown in comparison. So let's just give this a second to sit and I'll be right back. All right, so I think that's about all of the color change you're going to get here on the arm. On the lips, the Sisley does change to a slightly deeper pink than the YSL, but you can see here on the arm, they're pretty similar. The Sisley is a slightly warmer pink, but it's not really something noticeable. Overall, they're pretty similar. Texturally, formulas between the 2, I would say that the YSL feels a little bit more buttery, a little bit stiffer in general, like more butter in the formula. compared to the Sisley. The Sisley, you know, it is a thin formula. It's got a great balance of oils and waxes, but in comparison to the YSL, there's slightly more oil in the formula. So there's a little bit more slip. It's a little bit softer in general. But I think, you know, they're both great products. So that's it for today. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've tried any of these products and what your thoughts are on everything we featured here today. So just a quick review of my thoughts on these products. So we start off with the Tom Ford Cream Blush in number 1, Cafe Blush. I have to say it's a very expensive blush, so I would recommend it to those who feel like they would get a lot of use out of it. But I have to say I really love the formula. I love the color. It's great for a natural cream blush that really lasts and provides a little bit of luminosity on the skin without glitter. So I have to say, I really like that one. And then we have the Phytosurgence, the 6 new eyeshadow shades. I love them all. It's really hard to choose a favorite, but I have been wearing Precious Pollen probably the most, and Botanical Breeze. Those are kind of the two that I've been wearing more often than not. They're just great everyday shades to put on. You can see they're a nice light neutral look. And yeah, I've been loving those. Love the new formula. And then we went on to the Byredo Brow Pencil, which I wasn't so sure about at first, but I came to really like it. So I would say this is definitely a solid brow product. It's one that I would definitely pick up again, but my number 1 choice still belongs to the Victoria Beckham Brow Pencil. However, you know, that one, I use it up so quickly. So hard to say which one's a better value. I'd have to do the math on that and see how long it takes me to use up this with both of the refills. But the Byredo is probably going to last me longer than the Victoria Beckham, especially since it has a refill with it. And, you know, I like the fact that this is a refillable pencil, while the Victoria Beckham is not. And I've contacted them 3 times or so now asking if they're going to make refills and make it a refillable product, and I've never gotten a response. So my guess is the answer is no to that. But moving on, we have the Byredo. This is the liquid lipstick vinyl in Frozen Memo. And I have to say, I do really like this. It's great to top things off. It adds, you know, a very faint, cool hint to it, but you don't really notice any color. And you've got some shimmer to it. So I really like the product itself. But for $50, you can find similar products for a lot less money. So, you know, if you really love the formula and you already know you love that formula, it's worth getting. But is it unique? No, not really. And then last up, we had the YSL Balms in 1B and 6B. And I have to say, I really like the balms. So 6B is the one I wear the most. And, you know, I'm going to continue using these, but I definitely would not be averse to picking up more shades of this. I'm kind of on lip balm overload right now, so I'm not going to pick up any more right now. But, you know, I really do like these. These are definitely a nice one. So we'll definitely talk more about lip balms in another video. I know I've had some requests to kind of go through a whole bunch of lip balms at once. So we'll get to that at some point, I hope. But thank you so much for tuning in right now. I hope this has been helpful. And please be sure to share your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in and have a great day.